Welcome to this video based on the EEF guidance report to improving mathematics in key stages 2 and 3, looking at the penultimate recommendation, which is number 7, use structured interventions to provide additional support. Selection should be guided by pupil assessment. Interventions should start early, be evidence-based and carefully planned. Interventions should happen early, both because mathematical difficulties can affect performance in other areas of the curriculum and in order to reduce the risk of children developing negative attitudes and anxieties about mathematics. The intervention should be informed by the evidence base regarding effective teaching and the typical development of mathematical capabilities. How does the intervention you have chosen relate to the recommendations in this guidance report? Another resource that you can use to explore the evidence base around different interventions is the EEF Teaching and Learning Toolkit pictured here. This toolkit is an accessible summary of international evidence on teaching and is designed to support teachers and school leaders who are making decisions about how to improve learning outcomes, particularly for disadvantaged children and young people. Each approach to improving teaching and learning is summarized in terms of its average impact on attainment, its cost, and the strength of the evidence base supporting it. It's updated on a regular basis, so I do recommend visiting it regularly if you aren't already doing so. I'd also like to point you in the direction of the EEF Promising Projects page, again pictured here. Here you can find EEF funded projects which have shown promising results when trialled by demonstrating the potential to improve attainment for young people cost effectively when independently evaluated. These are often small-scale trials that have shown initial promise before being scaled up in order to gather more evidence. Moving on, let's have a look at more of the recommendations around effective implementation of interventions. Interventions should include explicit and systematic instruction. This should include providing models of proficient problem solving, verbalization of thought processes, guided practice, corrective feedback, and frequent cumulative review. Even the best designed intervention will not work if implementation is poor. Effective implementation is essential to success. Interventions require careful planning and use of school resources, including staff. The best designed program will not work if teaching staff are unavailable, excessively overburdened, or not adequately trained to deliver the program. The EEF's Making Best Use of Teaching Assistants report provides guidance on the effective deployment of teaching assistants. And here it is. Let's look at the final set of recommendations around interventions. Support pupils to understand how interventions are connected to whole class instructions. You should ensure that connections are made between intervention and whole class instruction. Interventions are often quite separate from classroom activities. The key is to ensure that learning in interventions is consistent with and extends work inside the classroom and that pupils understand the links between them. It should not be assumed that pupils can consistently identify and make sense of these links on their own. Interventions should motivate pupils, not bore them or cause them to become anxious. The use of games, for example, is a recurring feature of promising programs, especially with primary school children. If interventions cause pupils to miss activities they enjoy or content they need to learn, teachers should ask if the interventions are really necessary. Pay careful attention to what a pupil might miss. Will they be missing activities they enjoy? Will they miss out on curriculum content they need to learn? Would class teaching be more effective? It is essential that the intervention is more effective than the instruction pupils would otherwise receive. If this is not the case, intervention pupils may fall further behind their peers. And finally, avoid intervention fatigue. It's important to avoid this from the perspective of both teachers and pupils. Interventions do not always need to be very time-consuming or intensive to be effective. Thanks for watching, and look out for the final video in this series looking at recommendation 8, support pupils to make a successful transition between primary and secondary school. And don't forget, you can find all the videos in this series on the Charles Dickens Research School website and YouTube channel.